Welcome to .easy. We're making another video here for you. We're going to show you how to make another website. We've been doing a couple of these for you. Mostly we've been covering HTML, which is just standard website language. And we're starting to move into the more advanced languages for those of you with our paid hosting plans like Unlimited and Ultra hosting. And for those of you who are like setting up websites in something like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, we're mainly going to be focusing on WordPress here because it is more widely used than some of the others. And in terms of difficulty, it is very simple to set up. So we have already set up a business website. We do have a video for that. You're more than welcome to check that out if a business website is more what you're aiming for, and certainly do so. This one here we're going to be designing for you today is actually more of a photography one. So aimed at those of you who maybe have a lot of media you want to show, like pictures, some kind of gallery, to those of you who are professional photographers, so that you can set that up and show your work so that people can take a look at them, admire what you've done, and really show off kind of your craft, because that's ideally what you want to do. You want to get all that exposure, of course, no pun intended, but exposure is definitely one of the things that helps drive the business. So what we're going to be showing you how to do here today is to set up a fairly professional looking business site for photographers. We do have, again, the video for business, so check that out. Now, for the photography one, a lot of people ask us kind of why you may want to set this up yourself when you can just get someone to do it. Well, one of the reasons for that mainly, which I generally tell people because I've made websites for some of my clients before and some other people as well, it's expensive. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you need someone to set it up for you, they're probably going to charge a lot more than you want to pay them for it. But in truth, I mean, it does take time to set up these sites. But what we're going to show you how to do here is we're going to show you how easy it is to really set up a site. It does take some time to do it, so you do need to make sure to set aside some time. But in terms of difficulty, it's actually fairly simple, especially to use something like WordPress. Very simple to do. So what we're going to show you here before we start off is we're actually going to show you what it looks like. We're going to show you off on our little Microsoft Surface tablet, which we've been playing around with. You saw our unboxing video. So we're actually just going to pop this up here just to kind of show you what we've got set up. As you can see here, basic loading screen of the Surface. So we're going to get off that. And what we can see here is this is the basic site which we're going to be setting up here for you and showing you what to do. Now this one here, we've certainly taken a little more time than maybe what we're going to show you today. But everything we're going to show you today is applicable on how to set this up, get this up and running. Most of this here we went a little overboard because we had fun with the pictures. But I mean, it is very simple to set this up. This really should only take you, if you're just starting out for the first time, maybe an hour or two just to wrap your head around everything and get everything set up. But it's really not that difficult. And once you're really comfortable and familiar with this, you can easily set up a website, definitely the layout and everything within maybe 10 minutes to get the layout all set up. And then for adding content, maybe up to 30 minutes once you really get used to it. So I mean, it's not difficult. You can see it's all set up here. You've got some of the things you'd normally have here, which is some different groups like weddings, baby photos, pets. You've also, for those of you who are professional photographers, you can have your resume up here. So you do have a lot of different options with it, and it's pretty nice. So you can even see here, although ours is mostly filled with Latin just because we're using content placeholders, but it is a fairly nice one to go with, and you can set up whatever you want here. You've got your about page, you've got your blog, so you can definitely incorporate this to anything you need to, and you can really set this up nicely. So this is kind of our end product, and the reason we've got this here is for two reasons. One is to show you what it's going to be looking like when it's finished, and two, we're actually going to be referencing this on the Surface tablet here as we're going along on our screen, so that you can easily see kind of what we're doing in the back end and what it actually reflects on the front end. You're more than welcome to preview it anytime you're doing it. WordPress does allow that. We're just going to be switching back and forth for simplicity's sake, so we don't have to keep switching back and forth on the same screen, and because we love playing with our toys like the tablet, it gives us an excuse to do that. So that's really what we're doing here for you. So we're just going to put this back down and we're actually going to get this started. So the first thing you're going to want to do here for this is you're of course going to need to install WordPress. Good place to start, and if you don't install WordPress, some of the other settings are definitely not going to make sense. So that's where we're going to start. So you want to first of all go into Softaculous. For those of you who are with .easy and have our paid hosting, you're going to find us within your control panel, and there on top of the list is always WordPress. So we're just going to click on this, go to where it says install, and it's going to come up with a bunch of installation options. Now for this one here, we're going to walk you just quickly through all these options. The first one here where it says choose domain. Now, for those of you who only have the one domain, you don't use a subdomain. For those of you who don't know what a subdomain is, this would be an example of like shop.sampledomain.net. So the shop part is a sample domain or a subdomain. So you can set this up really however you want, depending on where you want this to aim for, wherever you want it to show up. So if you want to go to, in this case, we're using sampledomain.net. If you want to go to sampledomain.net and have it show up there, then you want to make sure to select that in the box. If you have add-on domain set up and you're trying to set up a WordPress site for each one, make sure you do select the right one in here. Otherwise, you're going to get some conflicts and some problems may arise. So do just be careful with this one. The second one here where it says in directory, this is important as well for where WordPress is going to be loading from. So if you want it to show from sampledomain.net, you want to make sure this box is completely blank. If you want to have this load from folders, say like photography, because you want to have multiple WordPress blogs set up, you can go through and do that. It's really up to you. We're actually going to leave it blank here because it always looks a bit nicer to have it set up as just your domain itself. The next one here, the database, you can go ahead and you can set this up to be anything you want. You do want to take note of it if you plan to install any extra scripts yourself, because the scripts will ask you for configuration files for the database information. So you can leave it as just a default one. We're actually going to change this to just WP photo, just to keep naming sense, so we can quickly look through our database later if we need to and say, okay, this is the one for a photography blog. The table prefix, you don't want to touch this at all unless you're really, really comfortable working with SQL, MySQL, and databases. Just leave it where it is. You're really not going to reference it. The site name, you can set up whatever you want. We're actually going to go through and do this here. We're going to set up as demo photos site. And for this one here, we're going to go through and we're just going to put in demo site. And for this here, there's a little check mark underneath where it says enable multi-site. You don't want to touch this again unless you're really comfortable with working with WordPress. It's not really required. For the administrative username and password, you want to make sure that admin is set up there. It's the more common one. You're more than welcome to set up anything else you want as a username. Make sure you do take note of it, write it down, keep it in memory. You can always check again later if you need to, and it is possible to reset the password. But it's generally good to just have it on hand if you ever need it. Password, you can set up anything you want. We suggest making sure it's a secure password. This means both uppercase, lowercase letters, and some numbers, so that it makes sure it's secure. Nobody can get in you don't want to. Now, one of the things is the Softaculous, as you can see here when we type in, it's going to go ahead and actually type in exactly and show it on the screen. So, of course, you do want to make sure to do it when you're by yourself, or maybe if you're working on someone, make sure you do trust them. And if you need to, you can always change it later. So we're just going to keep it something simple and easy here for this. The administrative email, you do want to keep this on file, make sure it is a valid email address that you plan to use. This is used mostly for notification to you from your blog, from your WordPress site, as well as to email you any forgotten passwords. So it is very important to have that there. The last one here is language. Language, we're just going to select English because that's my first language, but you're more than welcome to set up anything you want. It does support multiple languages, so you can go through and do that. The last little thing to mention here is just the box at the bottom for email installation. Now what this does is this will email the installation details to whatever email address you put in this box here. So those of you who like things in writing, definitely make sure to put it in. We're actually going to leave it blank here because we're fully aware of how to get it back, and we're really just showing you guys what it is. So we just quickly press install and bang, it's installed. Softaculous is very fast for this, very nice. Now this is going to give you two things that you need to take note of at the beginning. The first one is just your website. It's going to say, okay, you can go here to see what your blog set up as, your WordPress, so you can go there and do that. The second one is the more important one where it says administrative URL. This is where you're going to be going if you need to make any changes to your website. Now this is what's referred to as a dashboard within WordPress, and this is actually where you're going to be making all the changes from. So we're actually just going to click on that directly here. And it's going to open up a page, and it's going to ask you to log in as whatever you just set up. So we're just going to type in admin, and we're just going to enter the password we set up and go log in. And bang, there we go. You can tell it to remember the password. I personally suggest you don't, just because it's just a security problem later on, but I mean, you're more than welcome to have that there. There's not a problem with that. So now that we've got this here, we're in the dashboard. Now this is where you're going to be doing everything within WordPress. Everything is set up through this. It is very simple, very easy to use. So this is exactly where you want to be. Now for this one here within WordPress, you may want to take a little bit of time in this video and just set up everything, or maybe play around with it just so you're comfortable and familiar with everything, because it is a little getting used to. So you can always pause the video and do that. We're fairly comfortable with WordPress, so we may be going through things a little quick for you. I mean, don't hesitate to comment and let us know. We can always make another video, slow things down for you, or answer any other questions you want. You can even contact our support for help with this. But for the most part, we're trying to show you guys exactly where to go, what to do, what to set this up. Now, once you've got WordPress installed, the thing a lot of our clients and really anyone who set up a website asks is, where do I go from here? because there's a lot of different things you can do. Some people like to go in immediately and start adding content. Others like to set up the layout. Some people like to go tackle the settings. Personally, me, I like to go after the layout first of all, because this is something that's going to define your site. It's going to be the look of the site, and especially for a photography site, especially if you want to make it look a little more professional, it is very critical, because when someone goes to a site, they're going to look at it first of all, and that's going to be their initial impression. So how your site looks on the outside is definitely a big thing for the site, so it's really important. Now, whenever you're working with any kind of a layout within WordPress, you're looking for what's called a theme. A theme is basically something that's set up in such a way that if you create any new posts, any new pages, any new categories, anything like that, it's got a pre-set up for it, so it handles everything for this. Now, there are a large amount of them online. You can find most of these through the WordPress website. There are individual websites online as well where you can go through and find layouts people have set up, different themes. Some of them you will find are free, others you may find are paid for. Most of the paid for ones will have advanced features, so I mean, if you're looking for something really snazzy, really special, you may want to take a look into these and may be willing to pay a little more for them, but they do look nicer on average. You can always go through the free ones, and there are plenty of nice ones out there, and there's nothing really against them. So definitely take a look, see what your options are. You do want to be a little careful with the themes for two reasons. Number one is there are definitely some bad themes out there, so do make sure you do a little bit of research into the theme to prevent any problems later on. You do also want to make sure that there is either a wide use of it, so in other words, you can see there's a lot of downloads or a lot of use, or say a lot of reviews that are good, or you want to make sure that there's support for the site, because if there's a lot of people downloading and using it, it's probably going to work and there's probably no problems with it. If there's not that many downloads but it's rated quite high and you can see they are supporting it, so if people ask questions they're getting answers, this is another good indication that this is a good theme for you to use and they are kind of keeping up to date with it, so it's nice to use. You do want to also make sure that the theme has been updated fairly recently. Ideally you'd want to have something within the last couple months. I'd really say 3 is the max. If you really want to push it, maybe within 6 months, but anything after that you probably want to avoid because it's not as secure. Because technology is always evolving and security is a big thing, especially if you are setting up a professional site, so you do want to take that in mind. In this case here, we've already got a theme we've actually set up. We did do our research beforehand, so what we're going to show you here is the theme we've actually chose. It's actually a free theme to use. For this one here, it's actually called Photo Theme Responsive. It's actually on the site here, which is design.net. This is one of the ones they've set up. This is just a free one we've grabbed off them, but you can certainly grab one from anywhere. What you do is, like we said, you want to look through here for the site, and this one here, it does work well in mobile devices like our tablet here, which is one of the reasons why we chose it. So if someone looks at it on a phone, if you say show it to your friends or any possible clients, you can show it on your phone, on your tablet device. So it is very versatile, and it's maybe something you want to look at too, especially from a business perspective. So for this one here, you can even view a demo of it. In this case here, they even have a little video of it showing kind of how it works and everything. So you do get a little nice experience from the site. That's why we kind of chose this one. Now, whenever you go to a site with a theme, you do want to make sure that you download the actual files to your computer and make sure you put it somewhere simple, like either your downloads folder, your desktop folder, but mainly just keep in mind you do know where it downloads to, because you are going to need to install that. Once you've made sure to actually grab your theme, you've chosen one, you're like, okay, this is what I want, I've got it downloaded to my computer. What you want to do is you want to go into WordPress and you want to go under the appearance section on the left hand side and then under themes. This is how you can set it up. You can see right now it's set up under just one of the default themes, 2011. So we want to go to where it says install themes at the top. Now you can go ahead and look through the WordPress ones here, and you can even filter this out to try and find something you want. In this case, we're going to go to where it says upload at the top, just because we already know what we got on the computer. Now this requires it to be in a zip format, so do make sure the one you got is there. If you do download the zip, make sure you don't unzip it, because there's no need to do that. It wants it in the actual zip format. So you just click on where it says browse, and then it's going to go through and set this up. We're just going to go into our downloads folder. You can see we got a lot of different things here. We've got our business one from where we set that up, and we're going to go into our photography one here. And as you can see here, we've got our zip file. We're going to click on that, open it up, and we're going to go to install now. Now, as you can see, it's already installed it. Very, very quick, very simple. Now, one thing that's very, very critical here and easy to miss is this little button in the middle that says activate. Now, if you do not click the activate button, you're going to run into a big problem, because your theme is going to be installed in WordPress, but not actually visible. So you do want to make sure to click on activate, and that's going to go through and do it. You're going to see a little yellow bar appear at the top within WordPress whenever you make a change. Do take note of that this is generally something saying either A, there's a problem with something, or B, it's okay. More than often than not, you're going to see this as an okay message. So you do want to make sure you actively do that whenever you're saving or making changes. So as we can see here, we've now got our theme set up. Now that we got the theme set up, there's a couple different ways you can go again. You can start heading on to content, you can play on with the layout a little more, or you can start going some other routes. Now, personally, I like to go and install everything at once. So now that we've got the themes, what we're going to cover is we're going to cover the plugins. We're going to set up 2 specifically that work really well with this theme. One of them, which is one of our favorite ones, which we actually use for our business site as well, and we use for a lot of our sites, is something called Shortcodes Ultimate. Now what Shortcodes Ultimate does is it's a plugin that's built to work with WordPress. It will actually allow you to very simply set up things like buttons, set up columns, set up images, set up lists, basically do most of the things you'll find on a website or may want to set up on a website and generate the code for you. So set it up in a very, very simple format. So this is one of the ones we're going to be looking at. The other one here you can get is WordPress Contact Form 7. Now we're doing this here just for one reason, because a lot of the themes actually come out with a contact form set up. This one we actually grabbed did not. So we're actually downloading this plugin so that we can set up a contact form, because it is very, very important to have that on your site, especially if it is a business site again, because you do want people to contact you. So you can choose whatever kind of plugins you want. These are just, again, the ones we've chosen, the ones we're using. So once you've made sure you've got an idea of what they are, you can go and install them by going into the plugin section here and then going to where it says installed plugins. You can take a look at what's already set up. Generally for a new installation, you're just going to see these 2, Askament and Hello Dolly. Askament is very important. It's actually going to be checking things later on. You can set that up and enable that and activate that. And what that does is that basically verifies comments and everything on the screen. So do make sure at the end of this, you do set this up. You do make sure to leave it there. You're free to, of course, remove it if you don't want it, but it is a fairly helpful plugin. Once we check that they're there and we made sure there's no extra ones or no anything, you want to go to where it says add. You can also click on add from the new side menu just to get there right away. You can either do this one of 2 ways. You can either go to upload and install this if you've actually downloaded the plugin for the WordPress site that we were just showing you, and you can download it that way and actually upload it to the computer, or you can go ahead and search it in here. Now the search here, we've found before that it doesn't always work just because it has to connect to the actual WordPress site. So if you see an error here or it's having some connectivity trouble, just go to the actual WordPress site directly and download the plugin from it and install it through the install section. Because we're installing 2 of these, we're going to be doing them both ways to show you. So the first one here, Shortcodes, you can see we typed it in and we found it. Now you do want to be careful because sometimes you will find alternate language versions of these, or you'll find, I'd almost want to say knockoff versions of them. So sometimes you do find those. So you want to make sure you select the right one you're actually looking for, and then you just click on where it says install now. It's going to ask you if you're sure. We want to click OK, and it's going to go through and set it up for us. Very simple, very easy. It downloads it straight from the WordPress site for you. As you can see, it's already done. Now again, just with the theme, you want to do this with the plugin as well and make sure to activate it, because it is, again, very critical to make sure you set this up. So now that we've activated this, we can see it shows deactivate here. It means it's actually active and running. We're going to go to where it says add new, and we're going to go to upload this time because we're going to show you the other way you can upload them. So again, it's going to ask you for a zip file. So we're going to go to browse, and we're going to go back to our downloads folder. And as you can see here, we've actually already downloaded the file already. So we've got this good to go. So we're just going to select that, and we're going to click on where it says install now, showing it's already installed, good to go. We click activate again, just like before. And bang, you've got both of them done. Very simple, very easy to get your plugin set up. So now what we've done is we've installed most of the outside sources, which means we're really not going to need to go away from the site, except maybe to find your pictures or maybe set up, or maybe to take a break. If you want a tea break or a coffee break, I mean, you can always walk away. But for the most part now, we're going to be working exclusively within the WordPress dashboard to set up content, set up theme styles, set up everything here. So there's no real wrong or right way to go from here, and you can kind of follow this in whatever order you want. If you want to jump ahead and do content, if you want to do menus, if you want to do something else, it's really up to you to where to go. Now, one thing just to point out before we go into this too far is that for the theme, if you're using a different theme than we are, you may see some of the options a little different. So for instance, when we reference templates later on, those may be different for you because those are directly controlled by the theme, as well as when we go into the theme options. Those are again going to be different depending on what theme you chose, but the same principles should apply. so you can get a really good idea of what to do. So what we're going to do here to start off is we're going to set up a couple of settings. Now, for the most part here, these aren't going to seem too difficult or too special, as these are really just things you want to make sure that are done before to get them out of the way. Now, one thing here is if you go into the general settings, you're going to see the site title and the tagline, which are what we set up when we originally installed this. So if you decide you don't like it, you can go ahead and change that here. That's where you can easily do this. For those of you who are installing WordPress to a different directory and having it load up, or maybe even moving WordPress, that's where these next two lines, WordPress address URL and site address URL, are set up for. So if you do need to play around with those because you do have a different directory it's installed to, this is where you do it. If you're confused about this, please contact us. We'll help you move this over for your account. We'll easily walk you through. We do it all the time for people, so not a problem. For those of you who've just installed directly to the root, you're going to have this fine. As you can see here, just set up to the domain. You don't need to worry about it. The email address, you can change this again. The membership is really if you're setting up a membership system for this. We're not really going to go into this here because we're setting up more of an actual website rather than something of a community based. So what you want to do here, first of all, is we want to go down to time zone. You want to make sure to set this to your own time zone. Now this is really critical if you're going to be adding any posts or pages. You want to make sure this is set before so it doesn't look a little wonky with some of the pages being all over the place. You can select the date and format here as well and just select where that changes. So it's really going to affect where you post pages. Anything you do, it'll show the time on it reflectively. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to go to where it says permalinks under the settings as well. Now, what the permalinks refer to, for those of you who have never touched WordPress before, these are actually what shows up in your URL, which is going to be www.sampledomain.net, and then followed by a slash, and it's going to have a name next to it. As you can see here, looking in here, WordPress actually does a good job of showing you what it's going to look like. You can choose one of the default ones there. Generally, most of the time you want to select post name just because it looks a little nicer. So whatever you call your post is going to be that actual page name. Typically, we like to actually leave off the last little slash here at the end. You can include it. It really doesn't matter. It's really whatever you want to do. It really comes down to what you want to look at. You can make this really fancy in the custom structure if you want, but we suggest really reading up on that before because you may get some errors if you're not sure of how to do this. It is well documented on the WordPress site and there are guides online. Just do a simple Google search for it and you'll find documents. But for us here, we're actually just going to leave this under post name or custom structure, just have it set up the same way. Whenever you do that, you want to click Save Changes, and again, we can see the yellow bar at the top telling us it updated properly. So now that we've got our page structure set up, now that we've got our time set up, now that we've got our themes and plugins, it's time to actually go through and start setting up some content. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be setting up, first of all, a little bit on the themes and the appearance because we want to have some of the basics there. Now, as you can see here, all our theme options are blank, and that's because we just set it up. There's nothing here. So it's asking us, first of all, what's our home title going to be? So this is what the actual title of your site is going to be, and you can choose this here. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to call this photo blog right here, or we'll call it photo demo site. And it's going to ask you for a custom logo. You can choose whatever kind of logo you want. We've already got one set up, so we're going to select that here right now. So we're just going to go into our folder. Again, we've already pre-downloaded this, so we have this on our computer. If you're looking for this, if you don't actually have this, you do need to make sure and go to grab it yourself. But you can go through and find it really anywhere. There's nothing really wrong with it. But we've gone through and we do have everything, again, pre-done. We're actually going to grab the logo from our business one just because we like that a little more from the sizing and everything. So we're going to select that one, open that up here, and you can see it shows a picture of it already on the left. So you can customize a little bit. You can put some alternate text in there in case someone can't view the image just because their browser or whatever is having some issues, but it is a little nicer. You can even put a description or a caption in there as well. We're just going to select that there and just click Save Changes, and it's already got that in there. We can see in the media library it's added it in here, so if we wanted to put it on another page, it saves it there for us. So now we've got that there, we're going to go back to the theme settings, and we've got that there. So it's going to ask you for a custom logo. So you do need to make sure that this is in there whenever you add something, and that's why we went through and did that. So again, you can go through and you can select upload anything. You can go into the media. We're just going to go back into the library itself. We're going to select this. We're going to go to edit, or you can even go to view to see this online. And here you can see it's set up. You can see our default page. Again, we're just going to quickly go back to the surface for a second. So now that we got this here, so what we're going to be doing is a quick shot between the two. So as you can see here, we've got our page set up. We've got our page set up there as well. We're viewing currently just our logo on the page. but we're just going to give you a little bit. So as you can see here, it's set up most of the default site itself. So from our one, which you're going to see here in a second, we're going to show you some sample pictures here. You're going to see that from what we can see here, it's got the side menu set up. It's got kind of the basic layout. So as you can see here already, without doing any work, our layout's really nice, really good to go. So we're just going to put this back. We're actually going to go back to our page again. And you can really go through and you can set this up here. So again, we got this set up. We're going to just go into where it says edit here. And what it is, it's got the file name. Now the reason we went into the media section here is just actually to grab this file URL. And the reason being for that is, again, the specific theme we wants an actual URL for it. So now that we've uploaded this to the server so we can use it whenever we want, we just quickly copied it. We're going to paste it in there so it's good to go. Now it's going to ask us for some other things like Facebook links and as well as some other things. Now this is where you're going to set up your social media for this. Your social media is things like Facebook, Twitter, as you can see, there's Google+. So this is going to actually create buttons on your page automatically for you. So if someone clicks on it, it's going to go to your Twitter account. If someone clicks on this, it's going to go to your Facebook page. So social media is really one of the ways you can help your website get exposure, drive traffic. These are all very good things, especially if you're setting this up for the first time or if you're kind of new to this and you're not sure how to set up the code for it. This is where it's going to go. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be typing in ours for .easy, and we're just going to quickly get this in here. And then we're going to put in our Twitter account as well. And because we're showing you guys our Twitter accounts as well, you're more than welcome to actually show up and take a look at them. I mean, leave any comments, any questions you have as well while we're doing all this. There's no problem with that. We're more than happy to answer anything. And just leave us a general comment about what you think about our videos and everything. And mostly if you want to see something specifically, because we're always looking for suggestions, ask us what you want to see and we'll try and get it to you. And we're just going to add our Google Plus now as our last one. But again, you can put in as many of these as you want and as little of these as you want. It's really up to you. And there we go. So now that we got that all set up, we want to go ahead and we want to click on where it says Save Changes. So now we're good to go for that. It says everything's been saved. You do want to make sure that when you start typing in settings that they are saving. Otherwise, you may find you're going back, creating a lot of hassle, a lot of headaches that don't necessarily need to be there. So it is pretty important to make sure you do set up all those themes. So now that we've got that all set up, we've got everything set up. One of the things that's a little unique about this theme versus a lot of the other ones is that there is no home page for this theme. Your theme may have a home page. There's nothing really wrong about having it or not having it. In this case, this theme actually uses a blog page as the main page. But now we're going to start up setting some pages. So we just wanted to let you know of that before. Generally speaking, most themes may ask you to set up a home page, and you probably want to do that first. If it has instructions on the theme, make sure to follow through that as to how to do that. Or if you're wondering how to set up a home page, you may want to check out our business video as we do set up a home page under that specific theme. In this case here, we're going to go to where it says pages, and we're going to start setting up some pages first. So we're going to go to where it says pages. You can go to where it says all pages first. We'd actually suggest you do this first of all, because when you set up WordPress for the first time, it sets up a sample page. Now, this of course is not a professional looking page. It has nothing to do with your site. So we of course want to trash it right away, because the last thing you want is something like that showing on your page, because it doesn't look very professional. And that's really what we're aiming for. It's a nice looking professional site. So we're going to click on where it says add new above. You can again go on the left hand side here. The first thing you want to do whenever you go to a page is make sure to add a title. So we're just going to make this our about page, because we're going to start off with an about. Now generally for photography, this is either going to be about you personally. If this is a personal photography site, if this is a business, put a little bit of information here. This is going to be something like what you've been doing, maybe what you focus on or what you're well known for, any notable things you've done, like say if you've had a piece featured in an art gallery or an exhibit, if you've got some special ones that are already running online, you may have some website things here. This is going to be to draw people to your site, to let them know a little bit about you, maybe have a little warmth, rapport with them, and try and get them a little more interested in your site. So we're just going to set this up as about. Now there's a couple of things here we did mention before that are very important. One of them is the template over here. Now this is very, very important, and it's going to change depending on what your theme is. As you can see here, we're looking at our page template. You're going to see that we have a default template and a blog with this. So as we're going through, we're going to be switching this depending on what our page is doing. Now this is going to change the layout of your sites. Now this one is more set up specifically just to show pictures off, so it's more just layout and specific thing, it's going to have one for pages and one for actually the pictures. Whereas if you want to see one with a lot of different templates and things you can do with it, you may want to again check out our business videos. We do have one with a lot more templates there because there's a lot more versatility to it. So for our about page, we're actually going to just click on where it says default template. We're not going to set up really anything special here. And again, it's just a simple page, it's supposed to show something about you. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to add some default content here. And we're going to use some of this typical Latin you're going to see around for most templates here, just to keep it again something simple. And there you can see we just copy and pasted quickly and easily a bunch of this here. So we're going to go ahead and click on save. Now you don't need to save the draft every time. You can actually just go to publish and it will put it online. Personally, I'm in a habit of doing it just for the sake of it, because if something goes wrong between you clicking those buttons, or say there's an error publishing or something, it's better to be safe than sorry, because you don't want to type out the whole page again if you're doing this from scratch yourself. And whenever you update it, make sure it is there. You can actually see in the bottom right corner of the window here where it actually shows the time when it was last saved. So if you notice there's a significant time, I'd probably say 10 to 15 minutes. If you're actually doing that much amount of work without saving, stop and save it. Definitely half an hour at the latest. Otherwise, if something happens, power outage, something screws up on the site, something goes weird with your browser, I mean, anything could really happen. You're going to save yourself a headache, and it's better to do it that way. Once you're ready to get it online, you can go to publish. You can even preview it here. Now, as we've shown you before what our page looks like, we already know personally what it's going to look like, so we're not going to preview it just here. We're going to go to publish and get that actually up and running. So as you can see here at the top, it now says the page is published, so it is visible online. If we go there, it's actually going to show that. So now that we've got that set up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up our next page here. And this page, we're going to go ahead to just the one on the left, because we don't need to keep going into the edit page again. You can also go to where it says add new at the top. I'm just in the habit of going to the left-hand menu personally. So I'm going to go back to add new page. Now this one here we're going to do is, this one's going to be our news page. Now, although we're titling it news, this is the main page of our site. We're going to be setting this up as the home page. If you remember that from what we were showing you on the surface a little bit ago, this is the one with all the different pictures on it. So the one thing we need to do for our particular theme, and if you're using our theme, you need to make sure to do this as well, is to select under the page template where it says blog. It is very important because this is going to handle the way the layout shows out, what it's going to show out for us. Now, one thing that's a little different here as well for this is we're not going to actually put in any content for this page. The reason for that is our actual theme, our layout for this page is going to take care of that for us. So anything we set up as a post under this blog heading is actually going to automatically show up on this page for us. Very nice, very simple to do, very easy. That's really what we're aiming for, to help you guys set up a nice, easy, professional looking site. So now that we've done that, we're going to go to where it says save draft, and we're going to go to where it says publish again. Even though there's nothing really on the page, you do need to make sure to publish it so that it is visible online and is good to go. So now that we've set that up here, we're going to go ahead and set up our other page, which is our contact form page. Now for this here, this may be a little different depending on your theme. This is depending on whether you set up the plugin we set up or a different contact form plugin. So we're going to go to where it says contact on the side here, and we're going to go ahead and click on that. Now what you can do is you can do this one of two ways. You're going to see there's a default contact form, and we're actually going to set up our contact form first. Now you can also set up a page for the contact form first, or you can set up the actual form itself. It is up to you. We're going to set up the contact form itself first, just because I personally like to have the form set up before I actually do it. Additionally, it's so you don't have to come back here to find the shortcode to copy and paste across. So we're going to just go ahead into this one, and we're actually going to just click on it, and this is going to let us edit it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to change the name. So instead of just calling this generic contact form 1, we're going to just leave this as contact form, because we're only going to make one. Very simple to do again. So we want to make sure to save this at the top once we've done this. So what it's going to do is it's going to have this copy form here, and you can actually copy and paste everything in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start entering in the content. So as you can see here, it's already got this set up on the side for us. And this is here, it's asking us to enter your name, asking you for your email address, it's asking for the subject message line and submit. So it's actually got everything already set up for us. Now there's a couple of different things that are really very, very important here for us. The first is this to line. It is very, very critical that you make sure to change this to the email address you actually want to receive this as. It's going to default to whatever one you set up when you originally did this in the settings. So if you want this to go somewhere else, like a no reply address or somewhere else you've set up, do make sure to change this here. It is very, very important. For the from email address, we're going to go through and put anything you want. Typically speaking, you want to set the from as a no reply, because you only want to receive things. You don't want to be sending things out from here. So again, no reply kind of lets people know, okay, hey, it's not going to be from anything. You don't want to do anything. You can even put it as a from address being from your site if you want, just to let you know personally it's from there. But again, you can really set up anything you want. There's no right or wrong way to set this up. It's really comes down to personally what you prefer setting it up. So what we're going to do here is, now that we've got this in here, we've got the body content. You can put any additional things. You can put in a subject, so it says something like from my site or from anything else. We're just going to put that in here. We're just going to put in from my photography site. And now that we've got that in there, you can put an additional heading, anything like that. And you can see here down at the bottom, it's going to show you a bunch of kind of examples of what things are going to show up if certain things occur. So you just want to keep in mind of that. If you want to add anything, you can actually do that on the right hand side here. You click on where it says generate tag, and it's going to go ahead and add in something. So you can click on text field and create everything here. So it's very simple. Once you make sure to edit anything here or add anything in here, you want to make sure to actually drag it across and paste it on this side here so it shows up in your form. Now you do want to make sure that in here you can see where it says ask commit. This is verification. So you want to make sure that this actually checks whatever field you're putting in and just verifies that it is correct. And then we're going to go ahead and click on where it says save, and go ahead and make sure that any changes here are done. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that once you've got all of this taken care of, you can do this one or two ways. You can go ahead and always copy and paste the form and set this up yourself. But the easiest way to do is just go ahead and copy the short form here, which you can do it here. You can even go back to contact form, and if you can see it here, you can also see the short code is here. So you can again just grab it off here as well. So now that we've got that there, what we need to do is we actually need to set up the page for this. So we're going to go to where it says pages, and we're going to go to add new page. So what we're going to do here to start off with is, just so you don't need to worry about it, you just want to copy and paste your contact form in here right away, just so you have it there and you don't need to worry about going back to it. Now that you've got that copy and paste in there, you want to go ahead and type in whatever you want for the page. In this case, we're going to just put in contact, because this is going to be our contact page. Now what we're going to show here is we're going to show that, again, we want the side here just to be under default template. We're not setting this up as a blog. We want to set up a draft before we do anything else, just because we do have this. Now what we're going to start setting up here is a little differently here. We're going to go ahead and actually just drop this down a bit, just so it is at the bottom. We don't need to worry about it. So what we're going to show you now is one of the other plugins we installed, which we haven't touched yet, which is actually called Shortcodes. It's this little pair of brackets here. You can click on this and it's going to come up here. Now Shortcodes is really nice because it does have this little shortcut, and it does have a search bar too. So you can choose whatever you want specifically for this. We're actually going to be using this right now for columns. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to select some columns. Now it's going to ask you what type of columns you want, what kind of, the last column you want, column style, any kind of content within there. So you can really put it in there. The content is actually what's going to appear in the columns. You can put this in later. Generally, I just leave this as column content so I know where it's going to go. If you're not sure what it's going to look like before you insert it, you can actually go to demo and it will show you everything there. So it is very nice to do. What we're going to do here is, generally speaking, we like to go either 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 is our preferred format. We're going to go 1 to 2 in this case. We're going to leave the last column as 1, and we're going to go down to column style and leave this as 1 here. So we got 1 to 2, 0, 1. Again, set these up however you want, no problem with it. We then want to go to where it says insert. Now what we can do here is we're going to go ahead for this section, and where it said column, we're actually going to erase that, and we're going to space this out. Now you don't need to space this out. This is more of just me as being a programmer personally. I like to space this out so I can see visibly where the code starts, where it ends, and where I can put things in the middle. You can again put anything you want. You can set it up however you want, as long as it makes sense to you and you can visually see there is a difference, so that you don't get confused while doing it. Now you want to make sure to save it when you've got this, so that you can go through and make any changes, and if you don't like or you screw up or something doesn't look right, you can always go through and just cancel out of it and come back and have that working. So now that we've got that there, what we're going to do between this column here is we're actually going to add in our contact address. So we've just got it already set up. You can put in anything you want for this one here, and we're just going to add that between the first and last one here. So now that we've got that there, what we're going to do is we're going to add a second column here for our contact form. So we're going to go back to the shortcodes, and this one here, we're going to go back to columns. You can either look through, or again, just could be typing it in just to find a little faster. And this time here, we're going to go to 2, 3, and we're going to select the 1 so that they look the same. Try and keep it a little easier to look at. And now that we've got that there, we're going to again go into column on the side here. And like I said, this is more just my personal preference. I like to space it out because in programming terms, typically what you do, try and make a little space and separate out a bit. And we're now going to copy this, or you can just directly cut it off and paste it in there. So now we've got this set up here. So we've got our contact form. So the first column should show our address. The second column is going to show our actual contact form. So this is going to see like the demo site. Now that we've got this set up, what we're going to do is we're going to save this, we're going to publish this online, and we're actually going to go back to the surface here just to show you what this looks like. Just because this is the first time we've really gone into the shortcodes, and you're probably wondering what this is going to look like, kind of what it should go here. So as you can see here, this is actually our contact page. We're going to go to our contact page now. And this is actually what it's going to look like. So it's going to have any content you put above the columns. We actually didn't put any here, but if we were going to put some in here, it'd actually go above this. This would be above the column heading. You've got what's in your first column showing up here, which is just the first section we added, the .et WordPress demo. The contact form is actually over here, and this is, as you can see, in the second column. So you do want to make sure you space out the column, make everything set up properly. You can play around with the columns to get whatever setting you want. This is ideally what it's actually going to look like afterwards. So this is what ours currently looks like. And we just want to make sure we show you visually what it looks like from time to time so that you can follow along. We really haven't touched the other pages yet for previews just because we haven't added a lot of content to it yet, but we will be touching upon those later. We will actually show you just the About page just because it is a fairly simple page and just to make sure it looks the same. But in terms of a WordPress site, I mean, it's really the same as anything else. So we're just going to quickly go to About, and as you can see here, it's just a page filled with text. So I mean, that's really why we didn't show it again, but we are going to go through here just to make sure you are comfortable, you are working along with it. But your preview should look like this so far, just in case you're following along. So now that we got that done, we're going to move on a bit here. So we're just going to quickly set this back down, make sure it's there. Again, just crowding our counter space with a little bit of our tech toys. And now that we got this set up, what we're going to do is we can go a couple places again. Now, some people may say, okay, I've got these pages set up, I may want to set up some others. There's no problem with it. You want to make sure to not clutter your page a little too much or your site with too many pages because someone may get lost. And ideally, as a photography site, you're mainly going to be focusing on some kind of a gallery. So if your theme has a gallery section to it, you may have a gallery page you're going to be setting up, and that's one we definitely recommend you do. Like we said, in this particular theme, that's actually our blog section, that's our blog template. So we've already got that set up, and we're going to be adding pictures to that later. So just make sure you do have that in there. The only other one you may want to do, if you do have a personal photography website, you may want to have a resume page. So we're actually just going to add that in now as the last page, and because we did set it up on our demo, as you can actually see there from what we were showing you earlier. So we're just going to quickly set that up here. So we've got the resume, so we've made sure to get the default template there. We've made sure to go through with the everything set up the way it is, and then you can go ahead and you can add your resume one of two ways. You can add your resume directly onto the site if you want, just copy and paste your resume directly into the text box here, save the draft, publish it, bang, good to go. You can set this up so you can upload it to the actual server, and then you can insert it through a button through the shortcodes. There's no real wrong or right way to do it, so it's really up to you. We're just creating a resume page to have this here. You can go ahead and set up anything you want. Again, if you're setting up the media, you do it the same as a picture. You just go ahead and it's going to ask you to select the files. We're actually going to go through and select that now just to show you those of you who are setting it up. Because generally speaking, actually putting a file there is a much better way of doing it than going through and doing it another way. So we're just going to select that from the PDF we've already got set up. It's going to show us a little thing of it here. And you can go ahead and you can do this a couple different ways. You can either insert it directly into the post down at the bottom. You can attach it to the post as a URL. There's really no wrong way, no right way to do that. We're going to go as a post attachment post URL. And the reason for that is just that we want this to be visible but not necessarily to everyone. And the reason for that mainly is that mostly web crawlers may go to your site and try and look for email addresses for spam, and that's a good way of doing it. If you put your resume on there, you may end up getting crawled and they may find it that way. So if you want to try and avoid having extra email addresses, especially work email address, stick to the contact form the way we kind of showed you to set it up, and you can set this up either through a link or through something else. So there's no right or wrong way to do this here. Again, you can set this up however you want. You can just insert it directly as a link. You can even go through as a short code and you can set up a button. So in this case here, that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to get that there. We can see it says style button. There's no real wrong way. Now where it says button link, you do need to actually paste in the code here. So that's why we did make sure to copy, get the actual link. You can make different colors to the button changes. You can do anything you want here. You can also set a demo. Now for the content and everything else, you can set that up. So we're just going to change this to, instead of button text for the content, we're going to change that to resume link. And we're just going to go to where it says insert. So now that we got that in there, we are going to remove the link just because we've got that. You can go ahead and use this now as a button. You can say, put any kind of text either before or after. We're going to put it a little before. We're just going to put in something basic like click this button to view our resume. Okay, and then once we got that set up, you want to make sure to save that. You want to make sure to publish that. Now, just to give you an idea of what this looks like, we're going to go back to our Surface and just actually show you a picture of this here. So we've got this here. We're going to go to the resume page, which is the one we just set up. Now, what we're going to do here is you can see at the top, it's got download resume. So this is an actual button. So if you click on this, it's actually going to go through and download the resume for you. So it is very nice, very simple to do. They've actually got the rest of the resume in here. So this is including the rest of the resume that's non-personal information. So this would be anything that doesn't include your actual email address, anything else you put there that's very personal you may want to leave off. You may want to have some demos in here, especially if you've got a bunch of links to other sites. You can set them up as buttons or other references. Not a problem with this. This is just, again, just a basic one showing like examples of text and bullet points. And again, mainly just make sure to put links instead of actually including your personal information, just to keep you a little more safe and secure, which is, and it also looks a little more professional. I mean, all these things really add up to help try and make it look a little better. So now that we got that there, we got most of the majority of our pages set up. So you may say, okay, I've got my button, I've got everything else set up. Kind of where do I go from here? And what you want to do here is you want to start looking into getting posts, categories. There's no real wrong way or right way from here. And depending on your theme, this may diverge a little bit. But from this point here, where you've got your pages set up and you've got your theme set up, the next thing typically is going to be setting posts to get your images up and running. Now, for our particular theme, it's got a couple special characteristics to it. Now, one of those special characteristics is that it's based off what are called categories. So any category we set up, such as like a slider or such as like a blog, is actually going to add these to our sliders and blogs for our layout. Now, this may be different for your layout. You're going to need to make sure to check your theme instructions, or maybe watch your theme video like we showed you at the very beginning. Our theme had a video, just to see kind of what these extra things are. So what we're going to do here to go in and actually start setting up the themes is our categories for this. We're going to go to where it says post and then go to where it says categories. And in here you can see it's just got uncategorized. This is always there, it's just a default one, but we're going to go through and add a couple. So the main one which we want to go through and add here is we want to add one that says blog. You can add a slug here if you want. A slug is basically just going to show up in the URL. Whether you want this to show up or not is up to you. I personally like to put these in, but again, they're not required. So I'm just going to put in blog and have that done. Now there's no parent for this, so we just want to go ahead and click on add category. You can put a description here if you want. You may say like, oh, this will show up on every blog page or anything like that. So that's the main one we've done. Now what we want to do now that we've done that is we're going to do a slider. Now this is our second one here. And these are, again, just the two specific for our theme. There's no real right or wrong way, again, and this will depend specifically on your theme, how you need to set it up, and what you need to word it. So we need to actually make sure the spelling matches what our theme is looking for. So we've got that there. We're going to just call a slider again, and no parent, and don't need description for this as well. So we're going to go add category. So you can see here that they're set up here under add category. You can see there's a bunch of posts here. It's going to show you what they're under. The uncategorized is just the default starter one, and it's just showing there. Even though we deleted it, it's still sitting in the trash can somewhere, so it is still actually on the server. So now that we've gone through and done this, we've said, okay, we've got our theme, we've got everything set up, we've got our categories. Now it's time to start adding photos. In this case here, the way we add photos to our specific one here is we need to start adding posts. That's the way ours is set up. Now, generally speaking, this is almost always the way it's done. You may need to add them specially or through a gallery or through media. If you've got something else here, your theme may actually have an upload directly through it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to where it says all posts, and again, we mentioned before, you want to make sure that there's nothing in there that shouldn't be. So the default one is always going to add a post. Hello World is pretty traditional in terms of programming sense. It's your default always first one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on where it says trash just to get rid of that, because we don't want that in there. Again, doesn't look very professional, and that's really what we're aiming to help you set up here. So now that we got rid of that here, we're going to go to where it says add new at the top. You can again go to add new at the left side. There's no distinction between the two. Now that we got a post here, you can really call this anything you want. There's no real downside or upside. We're just going to click on and type this in as post 1. Now there's a couple of main things to do here. One of them is it is very critical if you're using the theme that we're using or it has special rules to make sure on the side here you set it up under whatever category you did. In this case, if we're adding something to the blog and we want to show it up on our main page, we want to add it to blog, and it is very, very critical to do that. If you want to have this set up as a slider image, you need to again set it up as a slider, and you can do that. You can also set up extra categories if you want. You can always do that from down here. So for instance, we can put up an extra one such as like architecture. You can also go ahead and set up baby pictures, weddings. We're actually just going to click on just weddings in this case to set up an extra one. So anytime you go ahead and add any extra categories, you can go through and do that. There's no real problem with it. And once you've done that, you just want to go ahead and click add up here. It's going to automatically check mark it. Make sure you uncheck it if you're just trying to add extra categories from here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to select blog. Now one thing we're going to do here, which is a little different from most extra sites, is we may not add in anything into the pages. In this case, the theme, we're not really looking to do that. Now there's no real problem with adding anything into this theme, and you can certainly do that if you want to. But one way we're going to do this for our particular theme is we're going to add a featured image. Now a featured image is going to show up on the actual page and be kind of that icon for the page. So anywhere where you reference that later on, that's where it's going to show up. So we want to go to select files, and we're going to go into where it says images. Now as you can see here, we've got a large number of images. We're actually going to go to one of the ones for wedding, just because we did set up wedding as well, and we're going to go ahead and select that here. Now it's going to set that up. Now as we can see here, it's got that here. You can edit the image. Now because these are pictures, you may notice here the dimensions are very large. Again, because it is photography, you do want to make sure that the images are going to look nicely into your page. You do want to make sure that the picture sizes match your layout. So your layout will have a specific set. Your theme is going to have probably a best fit for you, and it may have some mentions in there as to where it is or whatnot, but you do want to make sure that it's there. It is very critical. Now you can always add a caption, you can add a description, you can add this here. There's a couple different ways you want to do this. You do want to make sure that you select where it says use this featured image at the bottom, just so it does become an actual featured image. You can go through and you can select this other ways. There's no, again, real wrong way to see this here. We're just going through and taking a look, making sure. You can change the alignment of where this shows up. You can change this thumbnail large, medium, different sizes. Now again, we typically like to make sure this is either large or full size when we're showing on an actual page. If you're using this somewhere else, maybe a smaller thumbnail, you may want to switch this as a thumbnail. It'll automatically adjust this for you. Again, there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do this. This is 100% up to you. You may want to put in descriptions, especially if you're planning to sell these or maybe show people a little more what they are about. So we're going to put in wedding photo 1 here. You may want to, if you're selling your photos, put in prices, things like that. Or if you're doing them for special occasions, like this one's a wedding, for instance, you may want to put in who this is, where this was shot, things like that, extra things like that, anything you really want. There's no, again, real wrong way or downside to do this. If you're planning to add this to a slideshow, you do need to make sure to select to add this to a slideshow. We're just going to go through and add this as a featured image, so use this featured image, going to save it. You can even see here at the bottom right, barely, even though it's a little grayed out here in the bottom, that it's already set up there as well. So you can see it's showing up there. You can then insert it into the post as well, so that it shows up on your post page if you want to go to the actual page. It's again up to you how you want to do this. You can even set it so it shows up in your blog and your slider. Again, it's personally up to you, and it's as far as you want to go with it. Your theme may have different settings than ours does, but this is kind of how we need to set up for our theme specifically. If you're following along with us and using the same theme, please make sure you do set it up accordingly. You can also insert it into post again if you want to have individual pages. We just want to go ahead and save the changes, and there's no real wrong way or right way to do this. So once we've gone through and saved the changes, we can go ahead and just close this out. And as we can see here, there's nothing here in the middle. Now, if you had gone ahead and you had set this up, there would be an actual picture on the page if you added this as an insert to post. So that's where it's going to show up. If you have a gallery, you may insert this as well. Again, there's no real right way or wrong way to do this. And just to kind of give you a layout image before we do anything, we're just going to go back to the little surface for a second, and we're going to go to our blogs page here. So what happens with this particular layout is things that we add are going to be adding to either a blog or they're going to be adding to our homepage, however we want. So you can set up a post. So anything you actually add is physical content. So say if we had entered this picture into here and added some content, you'd actually see it here in this list. And that's where that posting, where it's saying content comes from. If you go to actually where it says home, and you just set a feature image, this is what these are. Anything we tell as a feature image and any description we have for it is going to show up here, and this is where they're all going to go. So this is how you can quickly and easily set this up in our particular image, and this is how this is actually set up. So it's very simple, very easy to do. Now, as we've just done here, post 1, you can go ahead and you do need to make sure to publish this and save this as a draft online to have this up and running, otherwise it's not going to show here. You can always preview the changes or preview anything beforehand. So again, that's just the way you go through and do that. You do want to make sure to change these. We can select the image, and when you go through, you can always change it later on. So we can even go through and insert it back now that we've got it there. So if you want to insert something you already added as a feature, you can just go to where it says gallery. You can already see it's here. We can even change the image size. So we're just going to select this large. We're going to go insert to post. And you can see here there's a very large picture set up. Now, depending on the quality of the picture, if it's an actual lower size picture and you're trying to scale this up, it may distort it a bit, so you want to try and avoid that. So do try and keep in mind the actual sizes of your pictures when you're doing, because some pictures will always look better in their size, and scaling up does tend to distort rather than look better. So you can always go ahead and update it once that's done. So this would be an actual looking picture then in this case, and that's how you do. So anything you want to do here, you can add more posts. This will add new pictures. We're just going to go ahead and add the second one. We're going to go to add new, and this time here we're actually going to call it a slider one. So that adds it to our slider. We're going to go ahead and select a picture. We're going to go from select files again, just like we did before. You can see we've got all these here. We're actually just going to go to the second one, just from our wedding gallery here, and we're going to go ahead here and make sure we select use as featured image. So we've got that there. Get the large setup. You can do descriptions, you can do anything here. We're just going to go ahead and click on where it says save changes here. What we want to do here is then we want to go and select slider here on the side, and we want to make sure to save the draft. You can go ahead again and you can go in here, select any extra images from here. You're going to see there's the show in slideshow here. You want to make sure to check mark the show in slideshow if you actually want to show it here. You do want to make sure to have it set up as an actual picture in the post here. You can have the setup again, all three. There's no real wrong or right way to do this. You can always go into the gallery and grab it from there if you want. You can even show that we've uploaded it twice here, so you can go ahead and even remove it. So we're going to go ahead and go to show. We're going to select this one again, and we're going to say insert to post. And there you go. You can see the nice little wedding picture here with all the confetti and everything dropping. Very nice picture. And so we got that there. We can see it's also in our featured image in the bottom right corner, so this will be showing up on our page. And we've added it to the slideshow, so it'll actually be in our slideshow as well. So now we've got this all set up here. This is basically the way you can add this into here. So this is adding any kind of a photo to the site. There's no real, again, wrong way or right way to do this. So now we've got this here. You can add in any set of extra pictures you want. This is mostly a rinse and repeat at this stage. We just keep adding posts, adding pages. You can set up any number of them. There's no, again, right or wrong way to do that. And what this is going to do is this is going to set up everything for the site. Now, the next major section we need to do, now that we've got pictures, now that we've got content on the site, we're next going to need to set up our menu because we want people to be able to actually get to where we want to go. So you can get to the menu by going to where it says appearance on the left hand side and then going to say widgets. Now there is menus and there is widgets. They are two different things. The way this can be best thought of is a menu typically is something that goes across the top or along one of the major sides. In this case, our particular theme doesn't have an actual physical menu in that sense, so we're not going to go to it. If you want to see the example of between menus and widgets, please take a look at our business walkthrough we did, our video, because we did set up both of them there as it is more applicable to a business site. So you can take a look at that if you need to see kind of what the difference is, what it looks like. So we're going to go to where it says widgets here. It's going to ask you, because we didn't make changes without saving it, do you want to go ahead here? We're actually going to go to where it says leave page just to go across, just because we didn't really make any necessary changes here. But you do want to make sure that message pops up to very, very carefully click stay on page first of all. Check, make sure you save your changes if you did any. If you're okay, you can go ahead and leave it or save it anyway. And then you're going to see here we've got the sidebar. Now this has got everything we've got set up by default here. As you can see here, we've got the search, the recent posts, the comments, archives, categories. And you can see there's a large amount over here like archives, calendars, categories, custom menu and everything. So this is the actual bulk of your menu on the sidebar. And as you can see here where we were going before, it's going to go ahead and it's going to have that always set up. So again, there's no wrong way. This is more just kind of what you want. Now in this case here, we've mostly set up our own particular sites and we've got our own different things. And you can see here, you've got them mostly set up on the side. You can always add in new ones. There's again, no real wrong way or right way. You can even go down underneath each one and you can select different things. Now for the widgets here, we can see we've got them all here. You can go to pages, different ones. So we're going to go through and we're going to be setting that up here for you and showing you how to do that. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to remove all of these off here and just wipe the slate clean because we're not actually using these. You're more than welcome to use any of these you want. There's no real downside or wrong side to do it. I like to personally clean the slate and just get rid of everything and then add it from start. It's a little easier to do, and because I think more logically this is kind of the way to do it. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to set up the recent posts. As you can see here, I already dragged it across and set it up. And now you can set up any titles, you can set up any additional how many posts to show. We're actually just going to leave it there and we're going to go ahead and click save. So now that we got that here, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to recent comments. And we're going to go that as our next one. So we're going to add that in underneath here. We're actually just going to shrink this back up and we're going to go to recent comments, drag it over, put it in there. You do need to make sure you see that little black outline around it. It is very critical because otherwise you're not actually adding it to it. You can again add any extra comments to it. We're again just going to leave it blank for the most part and just save it there. The next thing we're going to do here is where it says text about. And this one here you can add in a lot here. We're going to just set this down and we're going to go to where it says text about. It's going to ask you for text. We're going to say about us, and then here you can really put in anything you want. We're just going to put in our address, just an example. But again, you want to have a quick short link if you want and have this here. That's really what it's for. So we're going to go ahead and click on where it says save and get that here. So this is for the most part going to help us set up the sidebar. You can go through and you can set up additional menus if you want. There's again no wrong way or right way to do this. With your particular theme, you may set up some menus here. If you want, in this case, we can actually show you what it looks like to set up a menu. And we're going to do that here, and we can even show you how to apply it to this theme if you want. This theme doesn't really require it. You can just go through a sidebar if you want. And whenever you set up a menu, you just want to go, first of all, to your pages. You need to name it at the top, and then select all of them, click add to menu, and bang, it sets them all up. Now, the one thing that's very, very important is you do want to make sure to order them, because it is very, very important for them. Now, one thing you want to do as well is if you set up any categories on the side, you want to make sure to select them from here. You can even go to where it says view all. In this case here, we had weddings, so we can even add that in here. There's, again, no wrong way or right way to do this, but we're going to select weddings and get that in there as well, there where it says add menu. So we got that set up as well. So for this one here, we are generally going to always have either like a home button or something set up first of all. And for this one here, we're going to go ahead and click news to the top. We're going to set it up to about. We're going to have contact and then resume. We've got blog, we got slider. We're going to get rid of uncategorized because we really don't want that. But I mean, again, you can set up whatever you want, and we're going to just go ahead where it says remove. We got slider, we got weddings, so we've got it all there. Once you're ready, you want to go ahead and click on Save Menu and get that in there. That'll actually add it to it. Now, depending on how it's set up, it may or may not do that. You can do it through widgets, you can do it through menus, you can actually set up both ways. Now, we're going to go back to our tablet again just to show you what this is set up, because for the most part, we've got most of the actual site set up at this point. So we're going to go back here. Now this is all of this section here. We've got the recent posts and everything about on the side here. So you can set this up different ways. You can even have a search bar in there as well. It's really up to you how you want to set this up. You're going to want to play with this, find out what works best for you, and what makes this look very professional. You can even set up custom settings here if you really want to get very technical for this. We suggest going to the WordPress site and actually looking for how to do that, as there are many walkthroughs to do that. But that's most of how that's actually going to reflect on the page and be set up. So most of the case here, we've actually set up just about everything we need to on the page. Now, you can get very advanced in this case. We're not going to show you how to do this on this demo just because we feel it is a little above and beyond. But if you want to really specialize above this, we suggest looking into what are called Google Web Fonts. Now, what these are is these are very fancy fonts that you can have work on your site and actually display across most browsers properly. If you want to have some fancy calligraphy on your site, or you want to have something that's in maybe a more colorful text, if you're doing something maybe like more of an artist showing your work, this is what you want to look into. Again, we're not going to show this here just because it's not it's a little more complex on how to do, and we feel it's really above and beyond more basic site that you want to set up. It is something we do suggest you look into in your free time, though. If you do want to kind of get a little more fancy with your site yourself, it is well documented online. These are again called Google Web Fonts. They are something you can do to customize your site above and beyond what we've done. So from the steps of basically what we've showed you here, which is setting up pages, setting up themes, setting up plugins, setting up contact forms, setting up your pages, your posts. We showed you how to set up some categories, how to do menus, widgets. This is everything that's actually needed to set up a page and set up a WordPress site. A nice photography set. Again, we're just going to quickly show you again. This is what it will look like at the end. You can see, of course, there's more pages and posts than we set up here, but we're really just showing you how to set it up, and kind of if you keep adding pages and posts, how it's going to look like on there. And it is very nice. And it is very wonderful. And you can see here the difference that all of these ones here are more for ones that have been set up through our actual blog category. So that's where that is. When we tell something to add to the slideshow, you can see it automatically creates a slideshow at the top. Looks very fancy, very professional. We've got all of our options here. You can search the site, search for different things. We've got the recent postings we've done here. And of course, you can always put in any kind of copyright and any other information at the bottom. But this is going to set up a very fancy site for you, very easy to use, very professional looking, and again, very cost effective. I cannot stress that enough. Because I mean, some programmers may charge you something as crazy as $2,000 to set up something like this. So as you can see here, although we took a little more time because we're setting up everything, we're trying to show you and explain everything and kind of show you what it looks like as we're going through on our surface here, you can realistically set up this site here that we've actually shown you on our surface in easily 30 minutes, if not sooner, in less time. For those of you who are just getting started in WordPress, you can easily do this within an hour or two. And I mean, definitely take your time. There's no need to rush. You do want to be careful. You do want to make sure to save often. You can even go through and backup. If you run into something weird that happens, or you're a little not sure how to do something, you can always look online. WordPress is very well documented, so you can find tons of documents online, things to show up and do, very, very easy to set up. If you have something maybe on the programming or technical side of things you're not sure of, don't hesitate to contact us back, and we'd be more than happy to help you set this up or answer any questions you have. If you feel that maybe we omitted something from this video or something was very complex, or in any of our other videos, don't hesitate to contact us on Twitter, get on our Facebook page or any of our other pages, or contact right into us and let us know here what it is that you need maybe more help for. If you have some other kind of site you need set up, don't hesitate to contact us. I mean, we're really here for you, and we're looking for anything else. So you can go through and do that here. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to show you a larger version of it as to what it shows here on our site just before we wrap this up here. And you can see here again, this is just the focus page here where we downloaded our theme. This is again the two shortcode. This is the Shortcode Ultimate and the plugin also for our contact form. And here's what our actual page looks like in a browser now that you can see this, because the focus we were showing you it, but it looked maybe a little small, so you want to see, okay, what does it actually look in my browser? So what we're going through is we're showing you now. This is where the slider is. It's going through all our pictures. This is again just the different ones we set up as our blogs, as the categories. You can again go to home, you can go to about, you can go to blog. You can see all these different things, contact, resume. All of them are there. You can see it's got the buttons across the top for our Twitter, our Facebook, our Google+. There's our logo. And we've got that set up very nice, very easy. We've got some additional things set up here, our different categories with all our different photo galleries. So again, very simple. We've got a search gallery here. We've added some recent posts, recent comments, some about. So I mean, from all of this here, you can see it is very simple to set up a very nice looking website. And I mean, your theme, your layout may be a little more fancy than the one we've chosen. You may have one that's a little more simple. There is no wrong or right thing at the end of the day. It's what looks best for you and what you feel really portrays your sense of creativity as a photographer and really represents your business or yourself to you, basically the people you're trying to portray this to, your clients, because that's what it really matters. And I mean, some people may think it looks nice, some people may think it looks bad. You can even set it up so the contact form is to add suggestions for how you want to set up the site. You may want to get a couple opinions from friends, family before you set this up or before you set it live. You can always create it in the background if you want to set this as say like an under construction page and then set this up later while you're doing this. There's a lot of different ways. There's again no real wrong or right way. Just do what you feel is most natural, most comfortable for you to do, most easy. And you can again always reference back to this video, go to our business video if you want to see a more business oriented site. And if you have any technical questions or problems, you can either leave comments on our Facebook, Twitter, or you can contact us directly. This is Graham from .easy Customer Care helping you with another video. Don't hesitate to contact us back, otherwise we'll be back to you with more videos later on. Thank you.